Again, this session is being recorded.
Otra vez, esta sesión está grabando.
Thank you for joining us today for our Site Council meeting on May 26, 2022. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting into session at 8:22 a.m.
Vamos a comenzar la junta a las 8:22 de la mañana.
I'm going to go ahead and turn it to our Madam Secretary to do roll call.
Yes. Veronica Bravo. Veronica Medina. Lisetta Huerta Niebla.
Present.
Yesenia Astorga. Dalia Villarreal. Nancy Raygoza. Melissa Brandon.
Acabamos de repasar la lista de asistencia. Si yo escuchó su nombre, ponga sí o presente en la caja de charla.
And then for school members, Anna Hagan here, Lauda Almada, May Wee,
Here.
Megan Carpenter,
Here.
Nancy Jimenez,
Here.
Pilar Samuelian.
So Larsa William is not here, but Miss Amy Wang is here in representation of her. So at this moment, we are not meeting quorum because we do have two parents. Ms. Hagan, if you can notate that Veronica Medina is here. I see her in the participant. Before we do any voting, we'll call roll again just to make sure if we have any other individuals that are here. Because if we have not met quorum, then because we do have an action item that we need to vote on.
En este momento vamos a esperar que llegue más gente a la junta. Tenemos un artículo en nuestra agenda que tenemos que votar. Mientras tanto, no tenemos todos los padres que tenemos en la parte de la comunidad del concilio. So vamos a esperar durante el final de esta junta para tomar la lista de asistencia otra vez para poder votar el artículo que tenemos en el momento.
So Ms. Hagan, before we go into the next item for voting, if you can just remind me to do roll again, just so that we can make sure we have quorum. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So for our agenda today, actually, Madam Secretary, would you like to go through the agenda?
Yes. So our agenda called to order, roll call, which we did. Agenda, unfinished business, review chronic absenteeism numbers, new business, end of school year climate survey, parent survey, action item, approve LCAP goals 22-23, announcement, upcoming events, public comments, and then meeting adjournment.
So aquí tienen un poquito acerca de la agenda. Vamos a hacer los negocios inconclusos que sería de la última junta, que vamos a revisar este absentismo crónico. Los negocios nuevos van a ser algo del año escolar, del clima del año escolar, la encuesta que mandamos, una aprobación de acción que acabamos de decir que vamos a votar y los anuncios de eventos que vienen por el futuro.
So one of the items that is an unfinished business, but is something that we revisit every single student site council, is our chronic absenteeism. Again, chronic absenteeism is defined as students who miss 10% of the school year. So somebody who is chronically absent, they are a confirmed student, meaning that they have at least 17 or more absences in the year.
So vamos a hablar acerca de la asistencia crónica. Eso es una cosa que repasamos cada junta, pero queremos recordarles otra vez que es algo que es muy importante de saber, que queremos confirmar que cada estudiante llegue a la escuela a tiempo y todos los días. Y si está en parte de la ausencia crónica, significa que el estudiante ha faltado 17 veces la escuela, que es 10% del año escolar. So, entonces tengan eso en mente si ustedes han recibido un aviso a sus casas este año.
So currently, our LCAP and school plan goal is that we will keep our chronic absenteeism to below 5%. And as you can tell from this chart, right now, our chronic absenteeism is at 24%. The blue number is what it was last month. So we did go up by 4% because we have 92 students who have missed 17 or more school days.
So queremos recordar, darles esos datos que tenemos aquí enfrente. El mes pasado tuvimos el promedio de 20% de estudiantes que faltaron más de 17 veces. Este mes ha subido 24%, que serían 92 estudiantes que han fallado más de 17 veces la escuela.
And currently we have 23% of our students who are in the high risk category. This means that they've been absent 10 to 16 days in the year and on the verge of becoming chronically absent. That is a shift. We were at 18% last month. Now we're at 23%, which is a 5% increase.
Y estamos hablando ahorita de los estudiantes que están al riesgo alto, 18% del mes pasado, ahora estamos a 23%, que 88 estudiantes han faltado 17 veces o más.
For our low risk, these are, sorry, actually I'm gonna skip to medium risk, sorry, this is in order of numbers. For our medium risk, we have students that are absent between 6 to 9 absences. We're at 22% currently. We have lost more kids in the medium risk category because it has gone up in the high risk. And again, a student who is medium risk is 6 to 9 absences.
Y hablando de los estudiantes que están a riesgo, medio riesgo, tenemos 23% del mes pasado, ahora bajó 22%. Eso significa que han faltado 6 a 9 días de la escuela este año escolar.
And then for low risk, a student who has missed 0 to 5 absences, we have 31%. Currently, that's a drop. I'm sorry, not negative, a drop of 8%. We have 121 students that are falling in this low risk category.
Y estamos al riesgo bajo, lo más bajo que puede ver. Al mes pasado hubo 39%, ahora estamos a 31%, que ha bajado, pero tenemos 121 estudiantes que están parte de esa categoría.
So as you can see, the chronic absentee number is not very great this year. We know that there's a lot of factors that have led into more students being absent with the COVID virus that's happening. We definitely are not meeting our goal. However, we are supporting our families in the situation right now because of the COVID-19 virus. This LCAP goal of chronic absenteeism is not a goal that we set as a school. This is a state requirement to monitor our chronic absenteeism. The percent that is set 5% is a percent from our goal. And we got that goal because last year we were at 9%. So it is our goal to stay at 5%. So again, absenteeism is not defined by the state, not defined by the school, but is defined by the state.
Queremos dejarles saber que esta meta que tuvimos nosotros de 5% es una meta que nosotros como escuela no pusimos, es una meta que el Estado los ha puesto a nosotros para poder avanzar y llegar a esa meta. Afortunadamente este año no llegamos a esa meta, porque sabemos por las razones porque ha habido mucho riesgo de COVID, mucha gente ha faltado y X o razón, pero sabemos que eso ha pasado. Nosotros seguimos dándole apoyo a los padres mientras tanto pasen por esa etapa de andar enfermos y andar perjudicados por cualquier razón, pero sabemos que, como dijimos, esta meta de 5% es algo que el Estado nos ha puesto para poder llegar, pero no vamos a poder lograr esa meta este año por las razones que acabamos de decir, de andar enfermos o las razones de COVID.
So one of the things that we want to make sure that everybody is aware of is that this does affect everybody as a whole, even though it does definitely affect the kiddos who are not here because they're not able to access their learning. This does affect kiddos that do come to school and that is meeting the absenteeism goal, because what it does do is it affects our budget. Every year, we only get amounts of money for kids that are coming to school every day. And when kids don't come to school, the school does not get that money. And that does affect the programs that we offer at school, our number of teachers and staffing that we have available, as well as things such as our enrichment classes. So we budget every year at 95%. Right now, our current average daily attendance, or ADA, is 91.82%. So as you can see here, we're 3.18% short of our goal, which is approximately $40,000 that we are not receiving for resources.
Mientras tanto, esto los afecta a los estudiantes que no llegan a la escuela porque no pueden llegar a los estudios y aprender a tiempo y faltan clases. También nos afecta en nuestros presupuesto. Nuestro presupuesto del año escolar sería de 95% de estudiantes van a llegar a la escuela. Este año llegamos a 91.82%. Y obviamente eso nos afecta. El 3.18 de porcentaje de estudiantes que no llegan a la escuela los afecta a los fondos que vamos a recibir para el año escolar que viene. Entonces, eso sí los afecta mucho para los programas que vamos a tener para los padres, para los programas que vamos a tener para los estudiantes y cualquier otro fondo que necesitamos, requerimos para poder seguir el año escolar. Entonces, tengan eso en mente. Mientras tanto, cuando si es que siguen faltando, es que eso no nomás nos afecta a los estudiantes que no llegan a la escuela, pero también está afectando a la escuela con los fondos que está recibiendo.
Just to give a perspective of what that does miss is this is basically one instructional aid that we would have to cut. That's how much it does affect our school. We just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that because it does affect everybody as a whole. Our teachers have been reaching out to students and their families, making sure that they are able to come to school. Our counselors are also reaching out as well as our office. And we have had different incentives to get kids to come to school on a more consistent basis, but we ask that families support as well by encouraging students to come to school regularly.
Mientras tanto, estamos haciendo nuestra parte a los consejeros, la gente de la oficina, maestros, están hablando a sus casas para poder asegurar que los estudiantes lleguen a la escuela. Les queremos dar una perspectiva de qué es lo que estamos perdiendo mientras tanto los estudiantes no llegan a la escuela. Este promedio los hace nosotros perder un asistente de maestro este año escolar porque no pudimos llegar a la meta de 95%. Eso nomás darle una perspectiva a ustedes para ver exactamente cómo nos afecta a nosotros la escuela.
And if you are just joining us, please go ahead and type your name into your child's name and teacher's name into the chat box, please.
Y si acaban de llegar a la junta ahorita, no duden de poner su nombre en la caja de chat en este momento para ver que llegaron para saber que están asistiendo.
So the next items that we are going to review are the new business items. The first one is the end of the school year climate survey. We wanted to make sure that all families are aware of what that is. And the end of the year's climate survey is a survey that is administered to students as well as to parents. But first one we're going to talk about is administered to students. This was done and completed by April 8th. So it was completed last month. 100% of our students completed the survey. So any students that were online or in person completed the survey. There was two different types of surveys that were completed. One is called a social emotional assessment, SEL assessment, and that is the green assessment. There was two of them, one for K3 and one for 4th grade. And the second one is what we call a climate survey. And that was also broken down into K3 and 4th grade. They were given different assessments because their ability to read and ability to understand different things may vary.
Aquí nomás le queremos saber que tuvimos una encuesta que se llama la encuesta climática este año escolar. Lo verde significa los estudiantes que tomaron la encuesta para saber exactamente cómo están en su emoción social. Lo que ven ahí que es como anaranjado es el grado que tomó, los grados que tomaron la encuesta de climática.
So this is the first set of scores from our TK through 3rd students. So this again is our SEL survey. This lets us know how students are doing in different areas. The first one is actually I'm going to draw you to the second one right here, emotional recognition. This allows for students to tell facial expressions about different emotions and why is emotions important. So you can see how the students scored in the fall and how they scored in the spring. So more students are in the average range of knowing emotions.
So aquí tenemos los resultados de esa encuesta que mandamos para que los estudiantes puedan tomar. Queremos enfocar en la segundo resultado, que es la emoción, reconocer la emoción. Como vemos aquí, muchos de los estudiantes están entre medios sabiendo exactamente qué tipo de emoción pueden tomar cuando los afecta a ellos, que sería signo de cara o cómo se sienten ellos, poder articularlo. Esos son los resultados que vemos de un año de un semestre al otro.
The next area is social perspective taking. This is what social perspective taking is understanding other people's point of view, especially when they believe that it's different from their own belief, because this is a very important skill for students to be able to have their own perspective and navigate and negotiate through different opinions that people have and have greater understanding of people and having compassion for people. So for social perspective taking, you can see from fall to spring, again, more of our students are understanding different other people's perspectives.
Aquí el resultado tercero que vemos aquí es parte de la toma de perspectiva social. Significa que los estudiantes saben exactamente cuando hacen algo o toman alguna acción, sabe cómo le va a afectar a la otra persona, como si tienen compasión acerca de lo que acaba de pasar o cómo lo hace sentir a la persona que afectó. Entonces, esos son los resultados que ven ahí enfrente de ustedes.
And I apologize. What we want to make sure is the lighter green colors are growing, and we want to make sure that the darker greens are shrinking.
Y para ver los resultados un poquito mejor, queremos ver que el color verde que está un poquito más clarito se suba y el color verde más oscuro que se vaya bajando. Entonces, si se está oscureciendo el color, estamos ahorita un poquito mal. Pero como vemos ahí, el promedio del color verde está un poquito clarito. Estamos bien en este semestre.
The next category is social problem solving. And what this is how students are able to navigate their different challenges and situations and picking ways that are appropriate to solve different problems. This is really important because many students, when they're outside at recess or they have social conflicts, we want them to make sure that they can navigate through that, know which problems are bigger, which problems are smaller, so that they can work through different resolutions.
El siguiente resultado es la reducción de problemas sociales. Esta categoría está muy importante porque es la categoría de los estudiantes que, por ejemplo, si están en recreo, pueden diferenciar que si es un problema grande, un problema pequeño, cómo poder resolver el problema entre ellos. Entonces, esta categoría es muy importante para nosotros.
And the last one is self-control. Self-control refers to how students are able to manage their emotions and their feelings and their behavior. This is important because we want to make sure that we want students to recognize their emotions, but also know how to handle their emotions, what they should do when they are either really, really excited or really, really angry on what is appropriate. So for this one, you can also see that we have increased between the fall and the spring by over 5%.
Y la última categoría es el autocontrol. Esto es para saber si acaso el estudiante sabe cómo salir las emociones, por ejemplo, si está muy excitado o tiene un problema, es cómo saber resolver eso entre él mismo o saber cómo platicar acerca de eso o no tener que platicar acerca de problemas. Entonces, esa es la última categoría que tenemos ahí y como vemos este semestre estamos avanzando.
So this overall goes into our overall score of how our students, our TK through third grade students are doing social emotionally. So given that there's lots of things that are happening and students have been really out of the school for 2 years, we really wanted to focus on making sure that students felt welcomed and they knew how to communicate with others. So overall wise, our students are definitely growing social emotionally in TK through third.
So, como vamos aquí para los grados de TK a tercer grado, queremos ver si están creciendo socioemocional y como vamos aquí, si están creciendo, seguimos adelante para poder apoyar a los estudiantes en esta categoría.
The next category for our TK through third is refers to our climate. So this talks really about like how they feel about these certain phrases that are on top. So again, a comparison between fall and spring when they took this survey. If it's lighter color, it means that they feel like that a little bit. And if it's darker color, it means that they feel like that a lot. And if you're seeing that it doesn't add up to 100% because those that are missing are the ones that are having more of a hard time with these statements.
Nosotros como vamos ahorita, vamos a hablar acerca del clima. Tenemos un poquito de ejemplos arriba de acerca de cómo es la encuesta que mandamos. Si ven que está un poquito clarito el color, significa que estamos subiendo un poco, pero si vemos que estamos en el color más oscuro, obviamente necesitamos mejorar un poquito más. Disculpe, al revés. Necesitamos, estamos bien, y si no, estamos queriendo mejorar un poquito, pero los que como ven que no se suma 100%, significa que muchos estudiantes, los que no pudieron dar las respuestas, es porque no pueden controlar este tipo de emoción.
So for the first part is the sense of safety in the school. So the first statement is, I feel safe. Again, majority of our students feel that they feel safe, either by a lot or by a little. So that, again, right now we have roughly 86% of our students that feel safe at school.
So, la primera fue, me siento sano y seguro en la escuela. Vemos ahí que el color más oscuro es que estamos mejorando en esa etapa.
The next statement is that rules are fair. For this one, again, we have about 79% of our students who feel that the rules are fair to the different games, to the different things that we have at school.
Y la segunda es que las reglas son justas. Sabemos que los estudiantes dicen que sí, están justas las reglas durante los juegos, durante el recreo, durante la clase, eso todo está bien ahí.
The next category is a sense of belonging. So the first statement is that the teacher cares about me. So in the spring, we have 84% of our students truly feeling that their teachers care about them.
Y la siguiente es el tiro de pertenencia. Dicen que los maestros sí los quieren a ellos, los maestros sí les ponen atención. Entonces, como vemos ahí, que 66% de sus estudiantes se sienten bien.
And then kids care about me. So this is their fellow peers, whether or not they feel connected with their peers. Of this one, we have 70% of them that felt that their friends and their peers care about them.
La siguiente es que si los estudiantes los quieren, o si los estudiantes también tienen alguna relación con ellos positiva, y dicen que 72% de los estudiantes que sí tienen alguna relación positiva con otros estudiantes.
As far as our instructional support, which is our third category, that both teachers help me learn, we're at 83%, and that teachers encourage me, we're at 91%.
El apoyo instruccional dice que los estudiantes, que los maestros sí los apoyan, que sí les dan mucho ayuda, y vemos ahí que estamos a 64.
And again, this is for our TK through third students, and they do take this online, and they take it on their own so that they are able to pick on the system, like what statement feels best or what pictures represent the best.
Y acuérdense que esta encuesta se la damos a los estudiantes y ellos eligen las respuestas. Tenemos muchas fotos y diferentes cosas que ellos pueden diferenciar para poder iniciar cuál es la emoción que ellos sienten.
The next category of our climate survey is with our fourth graders. So our fourth graders, for the climate survey, it's broken into 3 different categories. The first one is understanding others. So understanding others is where they're able to understand the mixed emotions and perspective of other people. And this is really important so that they can make positive decisions when they interact with their peers, especially as they're going into a different campus next year and exposed to different personalities and different styles. We want to make sure that they have the ability to understand others and then make good decisions.
So, este es el encuesta de clima para el 4º grado. Encuesta que le demos a ellos es para que esos estudiantes sepan, porque sabemos que van a moverse a otro grado donde van a tener diferentes personas que van a tener que tener amistades o tener que conversar. Entonces queremos saber que ellos están listos para poder saber que hay diferentes personas en este mundo que pueden diferenciar los diferentes problemas que tienen o las conversaciones que pueden tener o cualquier relación que puedan tener con ellos en el futuro.
The next portion is problem solving, and problem solving refers to how children think and work through challenges in a social situation. So anything that has to do with outside, in the hallways, in recess time, during break time, how they're able to navigate through different everyday types of challenges and conflicts that they may have.
Entonces, esta categoría de absorbiendo problemas en las maneras sociales, cuando están durante el recreo, están pasando durante clase a otra clase o están afuera conversando con otros estudiantes, quieren saber que ellos pueden saber cómo resolver problemas sin tener que hacer cosas negativas. Entonces, esa es la hilera donde los enseña a nosotros que estudiantes sí saben exactamente cómo diferenciar los diferentes problemas, mientras tanto no esté ningún adulto ahí presente.
So as you can see, this one is a bit of a dip. And the reason why this is a little bit more of a dip is because many of our fourth graders are going through different emotional, they're being torn a lot really on what they want to do, what they should do, what their peers are doing. So it is really important for our students to navigate through these so that they can make better decisions, not necessarily with always the cues, but on their own as well.
Como vemos en este resultado que vemos aquí para este semestre, hemos bajado un poquito. Probablemente es porque muchos de los estudiantes están pasando por cosas emociones, están creciendo emocionalmente o probablemente están un poquito afectados acerca de lo que está pasando, pero queremos saber que ellos están sabiendo cómo resolver problemas entre ellos mismos sin que tenga un adulto que tenga que interceptar. Queremos seguir adelante apoyando a los estudiantes que necesitan ese apoyo.
And the last section is self-control. Again, this is the same as the last one on how they can manage their feelings and their behaviors, know how the world works and how their emotions can be a different range and how it can, how to manage it, how to manage when they're really, really angry, what they do for themselves. So as you can see here, our students are definitely learning how to self-control. Again, it's getting a little bit more challenging because of the different peer interactions and as they're getting older into the teenage years.
Como vemos ahí, el último en la hilera es el autocontrol. Ese es donde sabemos que los estudiantes pueden diferenciar los diferentes problemas que tienen. Estábamos ahorita un poquito bajo, pero sabemos que estamos pasando por una etapa muy drástica y los estudiantes están pasando por lo mismo y sabemos que están creciendo como adolescentes. Entonces eso todo afecta este resultado.
And the last one for our fourth graders is again, the climate survey that expresses how they feel about these different statements that are being made. So majority of our students do feel 72% of our students feel that they are safe at school. And then that a good 58% of our students feel that the rules are fair.
Y aquí estamos hablando otra vez de la encuesta de clima, las categorías de diferentes emociones que estamos pasando y vemos que el 4º grado dicen que las reglas están sanas y que sí están bien las reglas que tienen puestas y sí se sienten sanos y saludables en la escuela.
The next category is a self of belonging. So a good portion of our students, 79% feel that their teachers care about them. And then on this one, where kids care about me, 41% of them feel that their peers care about them. This is the category that is one of the lowest and that has been a trend amongst students about this grade level because they are going through a lot of different emotions and they're definitely shifting their mindsets.
Y la siguiente categoría es el sentido de pertenencia. Si los maestros me apoyan, vemos que esa categoría está muy alta y los resultados también. Y la otra es que si los estudiantes me apoyan o me quieren y vemos que ese resultado está un poquito bajo y la razón por la cual es porque sabemos que en este grado los estudiantes están pasando por muchas cosas emocionalmente. Entonces estamos un poquito confundidos acerca de esos resultados, pero los resultados para nosotros como escuela y como administrativa se miran como cada año casi pasa en esta hilera y estamos sabiendo que estamos viendo estos tipos de resultados.
And then in the last category, which is around instructional support, a good 85% of our teachers help me learn. That's how a lot of our students feel. And then the last category, which is 80%, that teachers encourage me.
Y la última categoría es apoyo instruccional. Vemos que los maestros sí nos ayudan, los resultados están altos y los maestros sí me apoyan, igualmente los resultados están altos también.
So we have separated our fourth graders and our TK through third graders because as you can see, the changes that do happen in our upper grades are significant. So we want to make sure that we're accurately able to see where our students fall. All of our teachers have access, all of our administrators have access to this data and we're able to tease down who may need extra support.
Como vemos, muchos de nuestros, todos nuestros administradores tienen acceso a este tipo de resultados y aquí sabemos que, y como ustedes como padres quieren que vean que nosotros separamos los grados como de chique a tercer grado y los cuarto grado porque sabemos que en el cuarto grado están pasando por diferentes etapas en la vida. Por eso estamos separando esos tipos de resultados para saber exactamente qué tipo de apoyo podemos darle a los estudiantes de alto grado. Entonces, en este momento vemos los resultados para saber exactamente qué podemos hacer por ellos aquí en adelante.
So the next area that we are going to take a look at is our Panorama Parent Survey. This is the survey that was sent home to all families. It was given to all families in February, and the surveys were sent to a third party. So we did not analyze the data. We were just sent the data so that it is able to be kept anonymous.
Entonces, este resultado que ven aquí enfrente es parte de la encuesta familiar que mandamos a sus casas en febrero, marzo. Estos resultados de la encuesta fueron anónimos. Nosotros como escuela no pudimos ver los resultados. Le mandamos esos encuestas a otra compañía para que pueda dar los resultados a nosotros. No sabemos exactamente quién fue o quién no lo hizo, pero ahorita vamos a pasar esos resultados ahorita.
So it is really extremely important to us that at least 80% of our parents positively rate the school. This year in 2021-22, we had 96% of our parents that positively rated the school, and we had 80% of our parents return survey. So this is the highest percentage that we've had. Our goal is 70% that return surveys.
Entonces, este año escolar, pudimos lograr la meta de 80% de padres que podían darnos unos resultados positivos a nuestra escuela. Este año llegamos a 96% y estamos muy alegres de eso porque sabemos que los padres sí los apoyan a nosotros y también saber que llegamos el promedio de 70% de los padres van a regresar la encuesta y este año llegamos a 80%. Son los resultados más altos que hemos tenido desde el comienzo de nuestras escuelas.
So our ultimate goal is that 80% of our families agree or strongly agree with the statement that says, I'm overall satisfied with the education my child is receiving. Overall, at Valor Academy Elementary School, 98% of our families agree to this statement or either agree or strongly agree, which is up by 4%.
Aquí vemos que 80% de nuestros estudiantes sí están satisfechos que están recibiendo la educación en nuestra escuela. 98% de ustedes dijeron que sí están satisfechos de la educación que están recibiendo. Entonces estamos muy orgullosos de ese resultado.
And again, in order to make sure that this data is valid, we needed to make sure at least 70% completed this question.
Y para saber
96% that did answer it.
Y para saber que este resultado es efectivo y es correcto, necesitamos más de 70% de las familias que den las respuestas en la encuesta y si llegamos a ese resultado con 96%.
So overall here, I know this is a lot of words and I apologize, but this is what the overall sentiments are on how people have felt. And again, this is if they either agree or strongly agree with the statements. And this is a period over 5 years on how we have been doing. So overall, again, overall satisfied with the education that your child is receiving. 96% either strongly agree or agree that their child feels safe. My child is safe on school grounds. 78% agree or strongly agree that they feel safe, that the school is preparing their child for the next academic year. 80% of our families agree or strongly agree with that statement.
Entonces, estos resultados que ven aquí son comparados de los años anterior, pero estos resultados los dan a nosotros saber que ustedes están de acuerdo con lo que está pasando en esta categoría de las oraciones que de las preguntas que estamos dándoles. Por ejemplo, que está satisfecho con la educación que está recibiendo su estudiante. La segunda pregunta es que mi estudiante se siente sano y saludable. Estamos a 78%. Los estudiantes están preparados para el año que viene. Estamos a 80%.
The next statements are is that the principal or assistant principal is available to me if I have a problem. 83% of our families agree or strongly agree to that statement. The school responds to my phone calls, messages, or emails within 48 hours. 85% of our families agree with that statement or strongly agree. oops, sorry. And then 78% agree or strongly agree that the approach to discipline works for their child. 85% feels that they are confident that they can motivate their own students to work hard at school. And 76% of the students enjoy going to school.
Acuérdense que esas son respuestas que ustedes como padres eligieron. La segunda pregunta es que si el asistente director y el director están disponibles cuando tenga un problema, y ustedes respondieron que 83% están de acuerdo, a que la escuela responde a mis llamadas y mis mensajes menos de 48 horas, están 85%, que cómo llegamos a la disciplina y que si trabaja eso para nuestros estudiantes, ustedes están al 78% de acuerdo, y que se sienten confiables y motivados, que sus estudiantes están tratando muy duro en la escuela, 85%, y finalmente que si sus hijos les encanta llegar a la escuela, y estamos al 76%.
So these statements are how the school has ranked themselves on, or how parents have ranked the schools. What I'm going to go ahead and share next is how we fall, and how we fall compared to other schools nationally.
Estos los resultados que vemos es como ustedes piensan que está la escuela haciendo en este momento, pero en este resultado que tienen frente de ustedes, vamos a ver cómo estamos haciendo nacionalmente.
So you can see here, which is in this chart, and where this hump is where the average is. So we are this line right here. So we're above average. We fall in the 99th percentile for school climate.
Como vemos ahí, esa montañita que ven ahí azul, la montaña, a mero arriba de esa montaña es donde están todos nacionalmente. Y nosotros somos la raya negra que ven ahí, y ese es el averaje que estamos ahorita nosotros, el promedio que estamos al 81% nacionalmente.
So in this, here are just some examples of some of the questions that led to our 81%. The one that I did want to show everybody and highlight is question 2 that says, how motivating are classroom lessons at your child's school? 71% of our families felt that our students are either quite motivating or extremely motivating, and that's up 2% from last year.
Y aquí tenemos el ejemplo de las preguntas que le preguntamos en esa encuesta, y una de esas preguntas que queremos enseñarles a ustedes es que qué motivados están las lesiones en la escuela de mi estudiante. Y como vemos aquí, subió el promedio de 2% a 71%. Estamos muy alegres para esos resultados.
And then the rest of them, I won't read through them with you, but I'll just give you a second to take a look at it. And we'll also share this with all of our families as well.
Y no vamos a repasar cada pregunta, pero vamos a dejarlos un poquito aquí para que la puedan ver, y vamos también a enseñarles a los padres que no pudieron estar con nosotros hoy en día.
And here's a second set of questions that were asked regarding school climate.
Y aquí están otras preguntas acerca del clima de escuela que ustedes respondieron.
This is next set is school fit. So is the school a fit for your kids and your families? So 76% either strongly agree or agree to the statements. And again, we fall in the 99th percentile of this. Again, the blue is the national average of schools within the same urban setting.
Sorry. Aquí está el resultado del ajuste escolar. Como vemos otra vez, la montaña de arriba significa cómo está nacionalmente, ese es el promedio, pero nosotros somos la hilera negra y estamos un poquito avanzados en ese resultado.
Here are the questions that go with school fit, and I wanted to highlight 2 questions here. The first one is question 1. How much of a sense of belonging does your child feel at school? 7% increase from the last year. Either feel that they belong quite a bit, or they tremendously belong. So this is a great increase. The second question, which is how well do you feel your child's school is preparing them for the next academic year? And again, this is an 9% increase from the last survey, that they feel that they are extremely prepared or quite prepared.
So aquí vemos otra vez la categoría de ajuste escolar. Tenemos dos preguntas que queremos enseñarle. La primera sería que cómo se sienten los estudiantes, se sienten perteneciendo a la escuela. Como 1,349 estudiantes dijeron que ustedes pensaron que están, sí se sienten conectados con la escuela, y obviamente más padres sintieron que están sí bien conectados con la escuela. La segunda pregunta sería que cómo se sienten sus estudiantes o ustedes como padres se sienten que están preparados sus hijos para el año que viene escolar, y vemos que subimos un promedio de 9% este año, estos resultados comparados al año pasado.
I'll leave this up so you can see the remaining 2 questions as well.
Aquí están las demás preguntas para que las puedan ver también y ver los resultados.
And the next set of questions that has to do with school fit is how comfortable is your child in asking for help with school adults? And again, that's a 9% increase from last year, that they are either extremely or quite comfortable.
Otra pregunta es qué confortable se sienten estudiantes preguntándoles ayudas a los adultos, y vemos que el promedio subió 9% a 70%.
So leave it up for just a couple more seconds for the remaining 2 questions. The next category is school safety. So for school safety, Valor Academy falls in the 70th percentile of this, compared to the other schools in the urban setting. So again, this has changed from prior years. We had gone from the 90th percentile to the 70th percentile. So this is our biggest area drop.
Aquí tenemos la categoría de seguridad escolar. Aquí es donde bajamos un poquito acerca de nuestro resultado nacional. Pero ahorita vamos a ver exactamente qué preguntas fueron que los afectaron en este momento.
So something that is a bit worrisome is a significant drop in the question. How often do you worry about violence at your child's school? So this is understanding parents' worries about what might be happening at school. Again, this is a 6% drop from last school year.
Esta pregunta obviamente fue resultado de ustedes como padres. Lo que ustedes dijeron, lo que piensan es de que qué preocupados están ustedes por la violencia que está pasando en la escuela de sus estudiantes, y obviamente el promedio bajó 6% a 40% comparado al año pasado.
And this is the next set of questions that fall under the same category.
Y esas son las preguntas que también salen en la misma categoría de seguridad escolar.
So we wanted to make sure that families know that these climate surveys and these parent surveys are very important to us, because we take this survey data to define what our goals are for next school year. So we want to make sure that the goals are pertinent to all of our families and all of our students and staff members. So this is why we take these goals very seriously and these data very seriously. So in the summer months, our administration team will work and dissect where and how we can grow.
So queremos recordarles que esos resultados que vemos en esta encuesta familiar es muy importante para nosotros como escuela, porque nos ayuda a prepararnos para el año que viene. So, entonces vamos a tomar tiempo como administrativa y como maestros o como agentes escolares para ver estos datos y mirarlos bien, para mirarlos bien, para saber exactamente qué podemos mejorar el año que viene.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into our next category, which is our LCAP goal. I believe this is the area that we do need to make sure that we have quorum for. So I'm going to go back to really quickly our roll call. Can you, Ms. Hagan, do a second roll call for parents to see if we have quorum?
Yes. Veronica Bravo. Veronica Medina. Lucetta Huerta Niebla.
Present.
Yesenia Ostorga. Dalia Villarreal. Nancy Regoza. Melissa Brandon.
So Mr. Teran, we have 3 parents and 6 staff members. Do we meet quorum?
Unfortunately, no, we don't meet quorum.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I propose that we go ahead and table the LCAP then. Is that okay until the next meeting in June?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that. So because of that, we will go ahead and skip the LCAP goal because we do need to have quorum in order to vote. One of the things that I did want to share with everybody is that we do have to review our Title I. We already had reviewed our Title I goal in March, but I just wanted to mention that because we technically have to approve of this by May, we had already approved it. So we don't need to go into all the details for this.
So, acabamos de repasar la asistencia de padres otra vez para poder votar un artículo que tuvimos en la agenda. Afortunadamente no tuvimos todos los padres del concilio presente hoy en día, entonces no vamos a poder repasar ese artículo. So, vamos a poder movernos adelante ahora que es el título 1, porque eso ya repasamos en juntas anteriormente, nomás queremos darles a ustedes las actualizaciones que pudimos poner en este título 1 y qué representa el título 1.
And the Title I, what Title I is mainly to support students that are below our socioeconomic threshold.
So, ¿qué es el título 1? Es nomás la ayuda de estudiantes que desfavorecidos a cumplir con los estándares de rendimiento y contenido escolar del estado. Disculpe.
And the Title I is important for us to know because it is tied connected to our mission, which is COYAM.
Y es muy importante saber que el título 1 está conectado con parte de nuestra misión, que es COYAM, que es construir nuestras conexiones entre nosotros y la comunidad.
And it does tie into things that we have to comply to ensure that we're incorporating our families as well as our community members.
Y es parte de poder conectar qué es lo que estamos haciendo con la comunidad, igualmente con lo que estamos ofreciendo a los padres este año escolar.
So these are the different things that are a required element. I did want to highlight there is a change since March. The change is that our site council meeting used to be 5 and now it's actually 7.
So un cambio que acabamos tuvimos que hacer este año es de que nuestros juntas de concilio escolar eran 5 anteriormente, ahora tienen que ser 7.
So these are just some of the required elements that we have to have. And I just spoke to staff members about this as well, just making sure that we're staying in compliance for the funding that we're receiving for this.
So tenemos que estar obviamente completando y ofreciendo estas cosas para poder recibir los fondos completos este año escolar. So, entonces hablamos con los maestros para saber que estamos todos en la meta que tenemos que recibir.
And these are the measures that we had set and that the board had approved.
Y esos son los diferentes planes que tuvimos, que nosotros hablamos acerca de eso con ustedes como padres en la junta anterior y que también nuestro concilio de distrito también aprobaron.
Since this was approved in March, we did have more accurate numbers of the school positively rating the school. This was at a TBD, but this time, and now we do have the data, we're at 98%. So we do meet our goal for that metric.
So, entonces, como vemos aquí las metas que tuvimos, sí logramos algunas metas y la meta que tenemos aquí que no tenemos resultados, sí logramos que los padres tendrán una opinión positiva de la escuela. Obviamente tuvimos 96% de eso.
So again, this was approved already in our March SSC meeting. We do not need to vote on this, but we just wanted to bring that up.
Y nomás para recordarles que si aprobamos en marzo, no es parte que tenemos que aprobar hoy, nomás le queremos recordar de los cambios.
So the next items that we will review is just some announcements that are coming up. So we wanted to let all families know that our current enrollment is 366, which is 25 short of our goal enrollment, but we strategically had kept that lower given COVID learning loss. We wanted to focus in on the kiddos that are currently here. We are currently in our iReady Diagnostic 3 window. So as you probably know from all of your kiddos, they're really, really excited to finish the iReady to see how much they've grown. That started on Monday, May 23rd, and all grade levels are completing it.
Y aquí tenemos algunos anuncios que queremos darles a ustedes, que tenemos la matriculación de 366. Estamos ahorita abiertos para 387, pero tenemos menos de 25 estudiantes este año, pero eso lo hicimos porque queremos enfocarnos en los estudiantes que tenemos ahorita. Entonces, eso son los resultados que tenemos. Y también queremos recordar que sus estudiantes están en el diagnóstico 3, tomando el examen de diagnóstico 3 de iReady.
We will have our Visual and Performing Arts, or our VAPA Family Day, on June 9th. We hope to see all of our families here to celebrate all of our students' hard work. It will be in person at Valor Academy from 8:30 to 9:30. And during that week also, for June 6th through 9th, we'll have our book fair. And then our 4th grade culmination, which is going to be currently in person, is scheduled to be on June 16th. And then our last day of school, I can't believe it already, it's happening, is June 17th. And that day will be a minimum short day, 1 o'clock dismissal and 1:10 for the upper grades. Regarding report cards, that will either be given out at the last day of school or it will be mailed out to families.
Queremos darle también otra vez los eventos que vienen, el Artes y Visuales, el evento que tenemos de Artes y Visuales va a ser junio 9, eso va a ser en persona, va a ser de 8 de la mañana a las 9:30 de la mañana. Tenemos la Feria de Libros, que también es junio 6 hasta junio 9. Tenemos la graduación, culminación de estudiantes del 4º grado, que sería el 16 de junio. Y el último día de escuelas, de clases, sería el 17 de junio y sería un día corto. Y finalmente, si ustedes están esperando sus calificaciones de estudiantes, serían mandados por correo o se darán el último día para que ustedes los tengan antemano.
Excellent. Thank you so much. With that being said, I'm going to pass it to our ELD coordinator, instructionist, can't say that word today, Ms. Amy Wang.
Ahorita vamos a repasar ahora después, vamos a hablar de los aprendices de inglés, se lo vamos a pasar ahorita a la señorita Ms. Amy Wang.
We're going to go ahead and call the English Language Arts ELAC committee to order at 9:14.
Comenzaremos esta junta a las 9:14 de la mañana.
Oh, you can't hear me. Sorry. Let me reshare the slides before we start. All right, so today this is our agenda for today. We are going to talk about only new business because we don't have any unfinished business. We're going to go over our EL master plan, just a reshare of what that looks like, how students.
You can't see the agenda.
You can't see. How about now?
Now we can see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, we're just going to go into new business, talk about our new EL master plan, a refresh of what that looks like and how students can qualify for reclassification. We are going to talk about the progress of our LCAP. We actually got our summative LPAC scores back. So we're going to share the preliminary results for that. And then any upcoming announcements and what are some, like how the score reports will be released to parents if your student did take the LPAC. Okay.
So vamos a hablar acerca de los negocios nuevos que serían la reclasificación de estudiantes del LCAP. Vamos a hablar también de las metas, el progreso del LCAP, de las metas que tenemos y acerca también de los eventos que vienen por venir.
So just for our EL master plan for the 21-22 school year, English language learners are reclassified to fluent English proficiency based on 4 different criteria as identified by the California Ed Code. So these are the 4 different criteria. They must have an LPAC score of 4. And then they must have the teacher evaluation, which at base means that they have an average of 3 or higher on their report card in the English language portion. And then they must pass their DRA to demonstrate that they're able to read at grade level. Or Ms. Wee touched upon the iReady diagnostic, where students are all taking in their classroom to track their reading progress. If they show that they're on grade level iReady, that will also qualify them for reclassification. And then the last step is that parents will be receiving a reclassification letter as long as the parents agree that their child should be reclassified as a proficient English learner and do not need additional support in the classroom, then they will sign the letter and return it, which will qualify them for reclassification for the next school year.
Y aquí tenemos las categorías de diferentes etapas que tiene que tomar el estudiante para ser reclasificado. Tiene que tener un promedio de un 4 para poder ser reclasificado. También tiene que pasar por una evaluación de un maestro y tener un 3 o más en su calificación. Y también saber exactamente qué nivel de grado están leyendo. Los maestros tienen que determinar eso. Y también tenemos que tener la consultación de padres, que le mandáramos una letra a sus casas para que ustedes puedan saber que su hijo está listo y preparándose para ser reclasificado. Entonces, todo esto son las etapas que toman para poder ser reclasificado en el plan de aprendizaje de inglés.
So just a little more detail for reclassification. Parents will be receiving a parent square message and letter with their child's LPAC score by June 10th. Students who are eligible for the reclassification will take a DRA to demonstrate their ability to read at grade level. And once these results are in, the parents will be notified for reclassification via Parent Square and DocuSign. And it's very important that in order for your child to be reclassified this year, so they do not have English language services for next year, these letters must be returned before June 17th, which is our last day of school.
So, si van a ser parte de esta reclasificación este año escolar, van a recibir un mensaje por Parent Square donde van a poder ustedes firmar electrónicamente. Este va a tener que estar regresado antes del 17 de junio, que son los últimos días de clases, para poder saber que su hijo sí está reclasificado. So, tengan eso en mente, por favor.
So just a review of what are some supports that we had offered our English learners this year before I share our summative LPAC scores. Students who are ELs had designated ELD time for 45 minutes, 4 times a week inside their classroom with their homeroom teacher. Students also received pull-out ELD services based on their previous LPAC scores and their data from iReady diagnostics. So if they scored a level 1 or 2, they received multiple pull-out services throughout the year. And if on iReady, they demonstrate that they need extra support because they're not making the growth that the teachers should be seeing, they also received additional pull-out services. And then prior to our LPAC testing, all EL students participated in boot camp pullout. So teachers worked on sample test questions so they can see what a practice test would look like.
Y ese es el tipo de apoyo que están recibiendo sus estudiantes durante esta etapa para ser reclasificados. Se tienen 45 minutos que los sacan de la clase, disculpe, que están adentro de la clase con un asistente ayudándoles 4 veces a la semana. A veces también los sacan de la clase sabiendo si tienen un poquito más de apoyo para poder darle esos resultados del iReady. También tienen un bootcamp que van, donde les dan un poquito más apoyo acerca de eso, le preguntan preguntas del examen que van a tomar. Entonces, todo eso es el apoyo que están recibiendo durante esta etapa cuando están tomando su reclasificación.
Okay, so for summative LPAC, just the testing took place from February to April of this year. Students were tested with their homeroom teachers and myself, ELD interventionist, if they were absent or they didn't, they weren't present for the day that they were assigned for testing in their classrooms. So this is a chart of the results that we received. Students who received a level 4, so they were well developed and qualified for reclassification. We had 12 students total, which is about 7% of our ELs of the school year. We had 38 students who grew an entire ELD level. So for example, they went from level 1 to level 2 or level 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, which is about 23% of our English learners. There are 34 students who did not show any growth or did go backwards, regress from their previous ELD levels. So that's about 22% of our ELs. But we also had 48 students who did not increase in their ELD level. However, when you look at their scores, they did increase in their score. So for example, they got 1405 last year, and this year they got 1430. However, that is still an overall level 2. Okay, so that's about 29% of our EL.
Recordarles que estos exámenes que tomaron fueron desde febrero hasta abril. Aquí como vemos los resultados de diferentes estudiantes, la primera hilera les explica que 12 estudiantes este año escolar pudieron ser reclasificados a proficiente inglés. A la segunda categoría dice que 38 estudiantes pudieron subir de nivel, como por ejemplo de un nivel a 2 o del 2 nivel al 3 o del 3 nivel al 4. La tercera hilera les va a explicar que 34 de los estudiantes no pudieron superar este año escolar. Y finalmente, 48 estudiantes pudieron superar sus resultados, pero no pudieron llegar a poder moverse a nivel de su reclasificación. Por eso queremos darles los resultados aquí enfrente de ustedes.
Ms. Wang, I'm curious to see if those 34 students who did regress a little bit, if they are any of our chronically absent or high possibility students.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're looking into as well. Like we are receiving this data. So the next step is that, teachers and myself, we're going to dive into this data and really look at why are some students making growth and why some students are not, and what are some steps that we can move forward for next school year to continue to support these students, because we do have a lot of students who grew, but yes, we definitely also want to focus on the students who are not showing growth and maybe ones who even regressed. And something to keep in mind for parents, well, let me continue and then we'll talk about it. So parents, you will be receiving a summative LPAC report that looks just like this. I will be printing out a copy to send home before June 10th with your child in an envelope. I will also be parent squaring it to you individually. But this is what the report looks like. It's double-sided. You will see your child's overall score in the front. So, and then there's a description of what each level means. So if they're at a level 3, that means they are moderately developed as an English learner. And then they can use the English to learn new concepts in the school, but they just might need a little extra support. And then when you flip to the back page, that's where the detailed report happens. So we could really see where our students need the support. Is it in oral language? Are they struggling with their listening? Are they struggling with their speaking? Or are they struggling with written language at grade level, which is reading and writing? So you could see for this sample, the child is well developed in listening. However, they're only moderately developed in speaking, which would average out a score of 3 for the oral language portion.
Aquí lo que ven es el resultado que van a ustedes recibir antes de junio 10. La señorita Wang va a hacer copias para poder mandárselas a sus casas antes de las vacaciones. Entonces aquí tenemos un ejemplo de un estudiante que tomó un promedio de 3 y vemos que este estudiante está obviamente proficiente y está moviéndose más hacia arriba a poder ser reclasificado. Aquí los resultados en más detalle se pueden ver hacia atrás de este papel que van a recibir. Ahí ustedes pueden ahí ver más en detalle exactamente por qué están recibiendo sus tipos de resultados. Pero como vemos este ejemplo que aquí tenemos enfrente de nosotros, vemos que este estudiante puede escuchar el lenguaje, pero tiene un poquito de problemas hablándolos. Entonces por eso pudo tomar el promedio del 3.
Okay, and I also want to add on the very bottom of the second page, if your child has been enrolled in a public school and has been taking their LPAC, it will also show all their previous LPAC scores, so you could keep track of whether they are growing or if they are regressing.
Y si acaso su estudiante asistió a otras escuelas públicas, en sus resultados van a ver ustedes ahí exactamente a cómo va progresando y ustedes pueden ver exactamente a cómo va su hijo en esta etapa.
Okay, so to add on to what Ms. V was saying, we are, going through our summative LPAC reflection. So these are just some things that we want to consider and continue to think about. And please type in the chat box if you have additional questions that you would like the teachers and myself and Ms. V to, look into to continue to support our English learners. So we're, thinking about what are supports that all the supports that we had for our English learners this year, whether they're embedded in the classroom or pull-out sessions. How effective are they? What are some ways we can make them even more effective? Additionally, timing for the LPAC testing this year, because we need the reclassification and the score reports by June 17th, we did start our LPAC testing early. So we started in February, which means students only had from August to January to prepare for this LPAC test. Whereas in previous years, the state had given us until October to reclassify. So we did not start our LPAC testing until May or April or May. So students have a few more months of preparation. Another thing that teachers had given feedback about was adjustment of testing sessions. So the LPAC has 4 different sections of the test, right? Speaking, listening, reading, and writing. We tested them all together. So one student would sit through all 4 tests before we moved on to the next student. Some feedback was that maybe that was a long time for a student to stay focused and try their best. So maybe splitting up those onto different days.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Y aquí son unas cosas que nosotros estamos reflectando como escuela para saber exactamente qué tipo de apoyo podemos continuar a darle a sus estudiantes, cuáles son los apoyos para los aprendices de inglés, integrando en las aulas frente a las sesiones extraídas. Es una cosa que estamos haciendo ahorita, dándoles apoyos adentro del salón y afuera del salón para poder saber que los estudiantes están recibiendo el apoyo adicional que requieren. Otra cosa es de que este año podemos dar el examen un poquito más temprano porque sabemos que tuvieron tiempo para preparar. Entonces lo hicimos en los años anteriormente. Teníamos que dar los resultados al estado en octubre, pero esta vez los dieron un tiempo más corto, o por eso pudimos nosotros hacer el examen un poquito más temprano para que ellos tengan más tiempo para poder recibir el apoyo y también para poder hacer parte de la reclasificación. Finalmente, los ajustes para las sesiones de prueba, lo que hicimos fueron obviamente darle más tiempo para poder hacerlo y dividir los 4 dominios de diferentes días. Es algo también que hicimos para que ellos también tengan oportunidades de poder saber exactamente qué nivel van a llegar ellos, porque los dividimos en 4 diferentes días.
Thank you, Ms. May, for that. We appreciate the updates for LPAC. We know that it was definitely a huge task, and all of the teachers put in great effort in supporting our kiddos with this assessment. With that being said, I'd like to open it up to any public comments that you may have. If you do have one, please go ahead and use your raise hand feature or type your comment into the chat box. We're going to remind individuals that comments need to be kept to 2 minutes or less in order to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to respond.
So, le damos las gracias a Ms. Wang por todas las actualizaciones que nos dio por el LCAP. So, gracias a ella. Y en este momento lo que vamos a hacer, vamos a abrir el foro para que ustedes puedan preguntar preguntas que tengan. Usen su micrófono si quieren abrir para seguir preguntas, o si no, pónganla en la caja de charla en este momento. So, si quieren hacerlo, lo pueden hacer ahorita, en este momento.
Ms. Huerta?
Hi, Miss Wee. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for asking.
I had a comment or a question, actually, considering what's been going on. I'm sure everybody's aware of what, happened in Texas. And now our school safety survey says that, or we dropped to the 78th percentile. Is the school going to revisit or look at your safety protocol just to see if maybe that's like parents' concerns?
So we definitely do take a look at our safety protocol on a routine basis. Ms. Molina and I actually meet every single week to evaluate any holes that we may have, or any gaps that we may have, or any challenges that we do encounter. So that's done on a weekly basis. But Ms. Molina and I are going to also meet to talk about and do a walkthrough of the campus and consider any additional trainings that our staff members and any of us may need.
That's great. I actually want to give you guys kudos because every time I go to the campus, your campus is very secure. I've never had an issue where the campus is open. While you guys are reviewing your policies, is there anything the parents we can do to help you guys out? Whether that's, talking to our children, helping you with the campus to make sure that the gates are closed whenever we do go in. What can we do to help? Because obviously, these tragedies continue to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does keep on happening, and it does take a team effort. And we just actually met with our staff yesterday at the end of the day just to review all of the policies that we have. One thing that I love is that you're asking what we can do together as a community. And that is just to let us know if you notice anything, either letting the office know or parents squaring myself, so that we can definitely get on it ASAP. We are also in partnership with the LAPD. Our sergeant lead officer, I have personally asked for them to make more rounds across the schools and make more friends with those officers that patrol in the morning and the later evening periods around our campus. Thank you, Ms. Huerta. And we'll definitely come up with and think of some more ideas to also include our family members in some of the struggles that we are currently encountering and to get more feedback. Okay. Thank you all for joining today. We appreciate you taking the time to hear what's happening at school, and we appreciate you listening all the way to the very end. With that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. If you can let the record show that Anna Hagan motion. Can I have somebody second the motion, please?
I, Veronica, second the motion.
Thank you, Veronica. With that being said, the meeting is adjourned at 9:34. Thank you all for being here, and have a fabulous day.